Hey guys, Trainer DC here, coming at you with another video. Another day, another Pokemon Winds and Waves leak. It seems like this is what we're going to be dealing with for the rest of this year, with Game Freak and the Pokemon Company not wanting to announce anything new for the game. The leak community is going to be our source for news for the foreseeable future. And boy, do we have an interesting leak today coming from Central Leaks, which details quite a bit about the game. And maybe the most interesting part of this leak is that we have a release window for the game. So apparently, according to Central Leaks, Pokemon Winds and Waves is planned to release in September of 2027. Of course, this is subject to change, but as of right now, the release target, the release window is September of next year for Winds and Waves, which is a bit interesting to say the least. So first we'll dive into this release date timing, and then I'll get into the rest of this leak. But why September? Pokemon is a franchise that almost always releases in November ever since X and Y came out, outside of Legends ZA coming out in October last year. Why is this game coming out in September? And I think there's a couple of reasons why they're targeting a September release for this game. Number one, I think it's a fact of they know this game was supposed to come out this year and they want to release it as soon as they possibly can. So they're probably targeting a September window as opposed to November, just because they want to get the game out sooner so they can therefore then release the DLC in the not too distant future to not further delay their plans with their roadmap. But the other thing that I think plays probably a bit of a larger role than this potentially is, what is the November game for next year for Nintendo? Well, we know from the leaks and rumors that next fall we're getting our big 3D Mario, so it is quite possible that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company are trying to space out the release of the next big Pokemon title, Generation 10 and Winds and Waves, from the next big 3D Mario. Obviously, both are going to be absolutely massive for the Nintendo Switch 2, and I do think that plays a small part in this, but I think probably the bigger reason of the two is they want to get this game out sooner rather than later so that they can therefore release the DLC sooner rather than later to not further delay their plans for their internal roadmap. So yeah, Pokemon Winds and Waves is apparently coming out in September of 2027, which I do want to say one more thing before moving on to the rest of this leak is, why aren't we getting a trailer sooner than next year then? Like, I imagine that if it is coming out in September, we're probably going to get a trailer at the absolute latest, obviously on Pokemon Day, which we would have anyways, even if it was November. But I would imagine it's possible that we do get a trailer in January just to build this up more, since it is coming out 2 months earlier than we typically get a Pokemon game. But I do wonder, why not talk about this game a bit more this year if it is coming out in September? Like, would it hurt you to have, I don't know, a trailer every other month, like breadcrumbing us just little details here and there about it? But, you know, I've gone into Game Freak's marketing and how it's terrible before. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here in this video. But the next leak from Centro has a lot in it, detailing how the gym challenges are going to work, the hotel lobby being an MMO, the different little side quests seemingly we're going to have, and the reward we'll get from completing all of them. So without further ado, let's get into this. The hotel lobby works like an MMO lobby. Reception desk is the quest board, and the professor works at the hotel. This is something, and by the way, all this is subject to change because it's from a 2021 document, but this is something that I don't find all that surprising. We kind of saw this a little bit in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and even in Sword and Shield. It seems like every generation they introduce a feature they want to implement further into the next one and use the prior gen as a way to test that feature. Like, for example, in Generation 8, we had the wild area in Sword and Shield. That was a test for an open world Pokemon game, which obviously Scarlet and Violet was an open world Pokemon game. Generation 9, we had that little, you know, playing with friends in your overworld thing, which wasn't the greatest because of the performance issues on the Switch, but that was, in my mind, a test for more of that to come in the next generation of Pokemon. And it would seem that this hotel lobby working like an MMO lobby is exactly that. They're expanding upon that feature even further, adding quests to the reception desk, and the professor being within the hotel to me makes a whole lot of sense given the whole vibe of this region being a tropical adventure where we're on vacation with our mom and apparently our baby sibling, and we're gonna be, you know, traversing this region from this hotel. It makes sense that the hotel is kind of like our base of operations with the professor living there. It says the goal of this game is to participate in the gym adventure, so kind of like your gym challenges you have in every other Pokemon game. There are over 100 gym adventures, which you might be saying to yourself, what? How could there be 100? There's not 100 typings. Among 18 of them are specifically difficult gym adventures. So we can presume there are 18 gym adventures that are your boss fights, so to speak, your 8 gym battles, your, you know, totem Pokemon, if you will, your Titan Pokemon, whatever the new version of that is, plus taking down the research labs. Those presumably will make up all 18, just like how we had in Scarlet and Violet, the 18 types represented in some way from from the Titan Pokemon to the gym challenges to the Team Star bases. You had a challenge for 18 types. Those are the 18 specifically difficult gym challenges. The fact that there are 100 gym adventures tells me we're going to have side quests built into this game that are a part of the grander gym challenge. And it says here if you complete all of them, you're awarded with a luxury price from the hotel, which maybe you get a nicer room then. I don't really know what that means, a luxury price from the hotel. Do we pay less to stay in the hotel? Like, what does that exactly mean? Maybe it's an item we get from them, and this is just a mistranslation here. It says trainers who excel at gym adventures may be approached by gym trainers or even the champion. So if you're doing well, you're going to have a gym leader fight to be expected. If you're doing really well, you're going to fight the Elite Four and champion. Again, to be expected from a Pokemon game. The very first gym adventure you get is to catch a Pokemon that can learn Surf so that you can leave the first island. So like I said before, it seems like the other gym adventures outside of the 18 type coverage, your gym leaders, your Titan Totem Pokemon, and your Team Star Evil Team bases, it seems like they're going to be kind of like side quests, right? So this one's obviously mandatory. You have to get a Pokemon that knows Surf so you can leave the first island. Obviously, you're going to need that to progress in the story. I presume a lot of these are going to be tied directly into the story, but maybe once you beat the story, you have like 40 or 50 or 60 of them left to do. And if you complete them, again, you get the luxury price from the hotel, whatever that is. Maybe that's how you get the shiny charm in this game. Who knows? But I think this is fine. I know people love side quests. I personally am not someone who's in love with side quests. I don't really go out of my way to do them unless if I have to. But it seems like there's going to be a lot of different quests in this game that tie into the gym challenge. And again, you're going to get some special reward for completing all 100 challenges, or over 100 challenges, I should say. So it'd be interesting to see how they implement these. And maybe some of them are a way to get some special Pokemon. Like I'm sure we're going to get a challenge where you get a free shiny like we've seen in prior games. Like for example, in Legends ZA, we have challenges like this, right? You get a Raichu, you can trade it for someone for an Alolan Raichu. I'm sure they'll do something like that. And maybe that's the way we get a shiny for some brand new Pokemon, as it seems like a lot of modern Pokemon games like to give us free shinies. Like we got the Ampharos shiny, or I should say the Mareep shiny in Pokemon Legends ZA, and the shiny Ponyta in Pokemon Legends Arceus. Once you leave the first island, the open world starts. You can go anywhere and even go straight to the final boss. This is something we've heard for a while now, that you can go anywhere you want once you leave the base island. You can even try to beat the game immediately. Although if you try to, you probably won't succeed, just like with Breath of the Wild, which is actually mentioned in the last part of this tweet. Things like catching the main legendary and battling gym leaders are optional in this game, but they will give you an advantage against the final boss, like in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So yeah, you can do whatever you want in this game, and I am curious to see that. I know a big criticism of Scarlet and Violet was it's open world, you could do anything you want, but there's no level scaling. So I would hope that in this game there's level scaling so you can truly do whatever you want. Although for me, I'm probably going to play it in a linear fashion anyway, so it's not a big deal to me. But I know a lot of people really want to choose their own path when playing Pokemon and choose their own destiny and do whatever they want at whatever point of the game that they're in. So it's definitely a good thing. It's definitely a step in the right direction to see that, hey, we're going to have this open world that you can do whatever you want in it. That is definitely a positive to see from this game. Anyways, this leak detailed a lot about Pokemon Winds and Waves. We have a release window being September of 2027. We have a leak detailing the MMO features in this game, how the hotel lobby works with the professor living at the hotel, the gym adventures detail with our 18 types being the base of it, but having over 100 challenges. It's going to be very interesting from here on out to see what happens with Pokemon Winds and Waves, because like I've said in other videos, this is definitely not going to be the end of the leaks for this year. We're going to have more and more and more leaks for Pokemon Winds and Waves leading up to Pokemon Day of next year, and I'm just curious how much gets leaked, because we're getting more and more details for this game, but are we going to have something substantial leak, like, I don't know, an image of the legendaries or maybe the gimmick for this region detailed in depth? It's going to be very interesting to keep our eyes onto the leak community to see what comes of all of this. Anyways, let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about all this. What do you guys think about everything we learned today? The fact that this game is coming out in September of this year, the details that I just mentioned about the gameplay itself, like the gym adventure or the MMO-like features. Let me know what you think about all this down in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this from Trainer DC. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.